Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to paint this beautiful abstract bouquet of peonies. Settle in and let's get started. Hey everyone, it's Susie Lee with Lina Boutique. Come on ladies, this is what we're going to do tonight. I got a little fun craft. I've been wanting to do something like this for a while. I've got two canvases. One is black and one is white that I painted black. And what I want to do is I want to make some abstract flowers with a little bit of gold pen in it, and just maybe some bling wrap. I'm thinking bling wrap would be in order. And I don't know if I want to use the gold paint pen or if I want to use some of my metallics. I'm not sure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on this one, this smaller one, and I'm going to mount this to the bigger one so that it's got some dimension. It's going to come up like that. Okay, let's speed this process along. I'm going to mix 3 different kinds of pinks, different hues of pinks. And I'm going to be using Peony by Anita's. I'm going to be using Ceramcoat. It's called Touch O Pink. And I'm going to be using a Tangerine Mandarin color, also by Ceramcoat. And because the colors always dry darker, I add just a touch of white in each of them to lighten them up, a shade or 2 lighter than I think I want them because they always dry so much darker. So a touch O white and that touch O pink makes it perfect, right? So with abstract art, it's not the exact replica that you're going to paint, but it's the illusion of something. And in this case, we're going to be painting the illusion of peonies. And you don't want a perfect circle. You want it slightly imperfect, so it resembles the outer skirts of a flower. And I go ahead and I start in the corner and I just move along, painting shapes, and a little half peony off to the side makes it look a little more realistic in the end, with it looking like a little bouquet of peonies. So we're going to paint a couple of half peonies on the edges, and going down to the corners, we're going to paint some more, always keeping them slightly imperfect. We don't want them perfect round circles. We're not doing polka dots here. So going right in next to it, I'm going to go in with the other color. This is kind of a coral. It turns out a little bit like a coral color. That little bit of tangerine in there gave it just the perfect hint of pinkish peach coral, and I really love how that turned out. They really complement one another. And I'm letting a couple of the flowers get close to each other, get snugged up, and touch each other. Next, I'm going to go in with the last color of pink and filling in some of those black areas on the canvas. I'm going to be doing just a few of those darker pink circles or imperfect circles. And you'll note that they're not all the same size. Some are smaller and some are bigger. And you do want to leave a little bit of black gap in between for some leaves. Once I have 11 circles on the canvas, a perfect odd number, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to darken each of the flowers up and make sure there's no black canvas poking through. We want them bright and vibrant, and then we're going to dry them. Now, before this live, I experimented with some paint pens, some gold metallic ones, and I wasn't that happy with them. So I have decided to go with a gold metallic and this beautiful rose gold metallic, and I mix them together, and it comes out just the perfect shade that I need for making the petals of the flower. To make the petals of the flower, I start in the middle and I add a little dot of the metallic in the center, and then around that center, I start to formulate little half circles. And what I do is I stagger them so that the next half circle starts in the middle of the half circle above it. So I continue in that sort of a pattern, and I don't make it a half circle that's perfect. I kind of squiggle it a little bit so that it resembles more of a petal. Now I'm going to slow the video down just slightly so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm making a little center and then going around, even on that little half circle one, I'm giving it a few petals, but give it a center and then go around the center, making squiggly half circles, and then you go to the middle of the half circle above it and make another squiggly half circle, always ending that half circle on the half circle above it in the middle. Hopefully that makes sense. And as you can see, it's pretty easy. It goes quickly, and the metallic really pops off of the pastel colors, and against that black background, it looks so pretty. Okay, we're going to kick it up a notch again and go a little bit faster so that we can get all 11 peonies done and move on to the foliage of the piece. Here I'm going to slow down the video so you can see how pretty that metallic makes those petals. Beautiful. And next thing we're going to do is dry these peonies up just a little bit and get ready for the foliage. I'm going to be using a lighter green. It's a moss green, and I'm just going to go in and create very simple foliage. Just going in and creating little leaves in between, filling in those black gaps, but leaving a little black in the background still. And just simple leaves, 2 parentheses, and then fill it in. And the leaves are all different colors and lengths and widths. Just filling it in. Like I said, 2 parentheses, simple, simple. Then fill it in. And it comes along pretty quickly. And I think once you start adding the foliage in there, it starts to really take shape, and it starts to actually look like a wallpaper, if you will. Kind of reminds me of those foiled wallpapers that we did in the 80s, only prettier. Now, once you get enough foliage on there to your liking, you don't have to fill it up too much, just enough. And once you get it to your liking, dry it up, and you're going to go in with a very fine script liner brush and give it some little bit of veining with the gold. And it really does make it pop with a little extra shimmer. And the metallics sometimes seem to be thicker, so sometimes I add just a little bit of extender or water and thins it out nicely. So I'm just going around the foliage with the gold and outlining it and giving it a little bit of veining so it stands out nice. Again, I'm going to slow it down here so you can see how pretty that metallic paint makes those leaves, just going around the outline and giving it a little center veining. And it's these simple details that really make a piece special and stand out. Next, I take the brush and I go around some of those little black spots that are left in the piece, and I give it 3 little dots like in a triangle. It just looks like maybe, pollen floating around or perhaps some new buds, and I'm doing it with the back end of the paintbrush in a little bit of the darker color pink. It really stands out against that black. Then I'm gonna dry it up, and we're gonna get ready for a little blinging. Okay, so here I have some clear SS16 flat back rhinestones. I used to sell the clear in my Etsy shop. Currently, I only have the AB color stones, but I'm planning on getting some more eventually. But here I'm doing the clear SS16s, and I'm just putting a few of them in the center of each flower for a little extra bling factor, because that's what we do. And you can use B7000 or E6000, whatever glue of choice you prefer. Those are the types of glue that work best with these rhinestones. And actually, I prefer the B7000 because of the thin applicator tip that comes with it for this kind of project. And you can use your Totally Dazzled applicator tool or your crystal katana. Here I believe I'm using a crystal katana. It has a little waxy nib, and you just pick up those rhinestones one at a time and place them right into the glue, and it's a pretty easy process. Like I said, I only do about 3 in the center of each flower. Once that's done, I'm going to apply the Totally Dazzled Bling Wrap strips in the rose gold color. I think the rose gold really sets this piece off with all of the pretty corals and pinks. And so I'm just going to cut it down to size in these strips that are going to fit along the edge of the canvas. Once the strips are cut, I begin applying the strips of bling wrap on the edge of the canvas with a little bit of hot glue. And what I do is I take the tip of my hot glue gun and I scrub it on the edge so that it's not a bead of glue coming out, because that bling wrap is very porous, and I just want to make sure that it doesn't seep through and show, because it would kind of ruin the effect of the bling wrap if the glue got on it. So I'm just scrubbing enough of it on there to adhere the bling wrap, and then gently rubbing it with my finger, making sure that I don't get burned, and going all the way around the perimeter of the piece. Once that's done, we're going to mount it on top of the other black canvas. And look at how that really pops off of the black. It really gives it a little bit more depth and dimension and makes the piece look a little bit more substantial, almost like it's been framed. And I think it really accentuates all of those beautiful pink peonies. Just adding a little hot glue to the back of the canvas. Once I measured it all the way around to make sure it was centered, I lifted it up very carefully and added the glue and laid it right back down. Giving it a little pressure and making sure the glue is solidified. Then we repeat the process along the second canvas, starting in one corner with the bling wrap and going all the way around the perimeter, just as we did the first canvas. Scrubbing that glue on there and making sure that it kind of lies flat, and rubbing it with my finger. And what I love about this bling wrap is that when you reach the end, you simply snip it off with your scissor and it meets the other one perfectly and you see no seams. And voila, you have an absolutely beautiful little piece of artwork. But as if that wasn't blingy enough, we're going to add just a little bit more because we can. Sometimes, being a totally dazzled ambassador, I just don't know when to quit. And so I decide to play in my butterflies and bugs drawer, and I come up with a perfect combination of 2 butterflies on the corner and 1 bumblebee right in the middle. And I attach them by adding a little dot of E6000 and a little dot of hot glue, keeping them separate because those 2 glues don't like each other. They don't work well when they touch each other, so you kind of keep them separate. But the hot glue gives it a quick grab, and the E6000 holds it permanently once it dries in 24 hours. And look at what a cute little mixed media art piece we have created in just a short time. And those peonies look like they're just popping right off the canvas, don't they? I absolutely love it. Tell me in the comments, I want to know, will you try something like this? You can hang it on a wall or put it in an easel. I think it would be pretty in an easel in a little powder room. Where would you put yours? Hey, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook wherever you're watching from so we can connect again real soon. See you next time.